Lawanda again, and I'm going to make just a quick update with you regarding this week's pay. I normally give the information when I do the cash stuffing, but I think I'm going to do this a little differently going forward. If I can remember to do it that way, or if it's not going to become too cumbersome for me. But anyway, this is just a quick overview of what's going to be paid, because I am paid bi-weekly. So this check that I'm going to get on this Friday are going to cover these particular things. And so this book doesn't have it in here as a heading. So I added it myself. So previous balance in my checking account, $190.06. The savings portion to that, connected to that, is $20. My total allotments add up to $502. My net pay is $1,151.16. And then what you see here, this particular line is, I subtract out the business allotments. I have a total of $307 that are just starting to go in for this particular paycheck. Prior to this paycheck, I only had, I believe it was 204 or something like that. But I had to increase it a little bit because some of my business fees went up. So what I did, just to keep it clean and keep it easy for me to see what I have to work with to pay the main bills, I just subtract those allotments right back out of the total of 502. And that leaves me to work with to pay the regular bills, or the non-business expenses, maybe I'll refer to it that way, $1,556.22. Now, the things that are going to get paid this paycheck: my rent, life insurance, my taxes for state and federal. I have 2 credit cards, and then I have a like a payment plan for Klarna, and then my Apple storage, or Apple Tunes, is the $299. All of these things here total to, I'm gonna readjust this a little bit, total to $1,415.14, which leaves me with $141.08. I have written down my cash envelopes per usual. I haven't decided how much of that 141 excuse me, is going into these amounts. And then I went ahead and covered up this section because this is the business expenses, and I think it'll just be easier to not confuse anything. But what I will say is I have 2 that are being paid this paycheck, and that's the office fees that I pay, as well as the car insurance. So those are going to come out. And just the reason I covered this up is because I had to break this down, the section where it shows me how much is going in each paycheck, and then I kind of put a balance next to that, and then taking out the fees that are being paid each paycheck. So I think it's less confusing, and I'm actually going to pull that out of here pretty soon. It'll be here to show me like a snapshot, but I'm going to start putting it into the other binder, and I'll show you that sheet in just a moment. But to finish up with this is one of my savings challenges right here, and I usually just take this off. This 116 is literally coming out of the $1,151.16. So I am just taking off the last part of that, and it'll be a even $1,150 that I end up using. But that's okay, because then I'll pull that out of the remaining 141, and the difference will go into these cash envelopes. I hope I didn't confuse you all. I did not put final totals in because I just explained it. So essentially, it's going to be, once I subtract out this $1.16 from this 141.08, the rest of that, and I'll just go ahead and tell you what that is. I just don't feel like doing this in my head. So 141.08 minus 116. So I'll have $139.92 to put to my cash envelopes, or some of that might go savings challenge, because I don't think, I'm just gonna do the 116 here just so I know what I have left. And then my new remaining balance is $139.92. Okay, that hopefully that makes sense. So by the time I split up this money into these categories, it will be zero. My total remaining will be zero. And again, that's not, so this is typical. Let me just explain this part real quick before I say what I was going to say about this remaining balance. Because I get paid bi-weekly, and I at this time am not making enough money to say pay a full month's rent plus all of my regular bills in one check, then what happens for me is the weeks that I use, which is usually the second pay period of the month, that I use to pay my rent, I don't usually have very much left to work with, as you can see. So what happens is this amount, it of course doesn't go as far. And every once in a while I have to adjust something, because sometimes I do miss something. I think I overthink my numbers once in a while, and that might be just due to me being dyslexic, but it does happen. And then sometimes I write things over and over just because I'm trying to figure it out as closely as possible as I need for what I need to do. So anyway, this is not a lot of money, and I'm not worried about that. I'm going to use whatever I can. I'm going to stuff my challenges with whatever I can. I generally don't expect to do a ton with whatever's left on that second paycheck. That's just how I plan it. What I used to do is I used to split my rent. So I would do half on one paycheck, half on another paycheck. But I was running into a problem with that because something came up that changed in the way that the system was working. So I was using this system to help do that. I can't remember what it was called at this point, but it was a program where they would allow, so what they would do is, it's kind of like they would pay it up front for you, and then you would pay them back. But at that time, they didn't allow you to pick the date you would repay that money. So for me, even if I were gonna split this $1,207 in half, I'm just dividing that out and pay $603.50 each paycheck, then they wouldn't allow me to say, hey, let me pay that money back on my last paycheck of the month, so that I could use the first paycheck of the month to catch up with the majority of the bills, because that is when the majority of my items are not when they're due, but that's when I can really go ahead and put the most money away. For whatever bills I have, I can put more money into my savings challenges from that paycheck, so forth and so on. And so that's why it works out that way. Now, if I didn't have the business fees that I have, my check would have more money coming into it, my net pay, excuse me. But it is what it is for now. This is how I manage it. I don't have another way to do it right now. I am planning to look into some grants and see if I can get money that way, because it is a real estate business. So I'm going to check that out. But right now it is working. What I want to do is get that 1 month ahead going and start putting money away, because God forbid anything happened, I'm really not in a position where I would be okay with just the way things are right now financially. So with that being said, that's pretty much it for the budget. Let me show you, and that's not, that's just the last paycheck. I'll do the cash stuffing whenever I go to the bank and get that money out. It'll probably be maybe by the weekend I'll have that video out, or it might even be early next week. So what's gonna happen is, like I said, I usually, under this piece of paper, I usually write out my business expenses. I'm gonna be transferring all of that over onto here. So for example, this is March. Here's April. So this is my breakdown for April. So all of these things, what I do is I write out my budget, and then I normally put everything onto this sheet, and then I can keep up with how much I have going where. So like my last allotment was $187.10. It looks like. I'm just trying to follow what I wrote here, because sometimes this is the part where I recalculate a ton. Yeah, it looks like I had 120 going every 2 weeks, and then I increased it again to 187, and then now it's at 307. But again, that's not just for some of the fees that went up. That's me including sinking funds for the business. Like I mentioned in another video, I need a new computer. I need a desktop computer. I need a new laptop. I've got software to purchase for my tax company, tax business. So there's a few things that I have to take care of. I've got Board of Realtor fees coming up, and MLS fees coming up. So I am trying to get ahead of the game with those items. And so what I did was I increased my deposits to the business side just a little bit, so I can start adding that in on a bi-weekly basis. And I have a length of time before those things are due, so that way it doesn't interfere with by the time I get to paying that money will be set aside, and that's the goal. The only other thing I will say is I did get a couple of things for my business things, the binders, the cash wallet that I showed in another video. Those things are for me to use, but they're going to go towards the business goals overall. So what I did was I did those on the like I said, the Klarna 4, and then I have one for Sezzle, which I didn't write it on here, but there is going to be one for Sezzle, but it's going to come off of my one of my major credit cards. And oh wait, I think I wrote it. No, I didn't write it over there. I'm just going to write it right here for the sake of having it in my memory and knowing that that payment is going to go, it's going to my MasterCard. On top of that, all of my I wrote a note here for these two things. They come out of a different account. They come out automatically. All of these things come out of different accounts, but they are allotted, meaning they come out of my paycheck and go into the various accounts that they need to go into each paid period, so that the money as a whole can just be drafted, auto drafted. That's pretty much what it is, ACH. So anyways, I think that's gonna be all for this particular video. I will come back when I work on June, and it's pretty much going to be the same. I'm going to try to break it up a little bit differently, but other than that, I thank you for spending some of your time with me, for watching. And if you like, then give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe to the channel if the content you've watched so far is suitable to you. Leave ideas in the in the comment box below if you have something that you do differently, or I don't know, you have recommendations that other people might need to know or would like to know about in reference to budgeting, finance, those kind of things. Also, the one thing the last thing I'll tell you, and I just remembered this about this book. I shared where I got this book from a while ago in another video, so check it out. I'm not good at linking things yet, so I'll get there, but it's in one of the videos that I have already up. I am going to be in the market to find another budget binder pretty soon, and this breaks down for you very nicely into, which I've already shown this, but each area of the new bi-weekly breaks down into up to 3 pay periods, because if you're paid bi-weekly, then that works out really nicely. I get room to write 3 pay dates, so 1, 2, and then on the next page is 3, because that's what this is, bi-weekly budget planner. So anyway, I mean, you can write out your monthly too. So you write out your I'm sorry, you guys can't even see that. You write out your projected amount, and then what I do on those other pages over here, I write the actual. That's how I do it. But like I said, this book is halfway finished, and I'm gonna be looking for another one. This is the book itself. Let me see if I can zoom you guys out just a tad bit. This is it's Easy Cash Budget Planner for budgeting with sinking funds and cash envelopes. So I pretty much like the format of this. I just need something that has a little bit more of a breakdown, I guess, because I like to include my previous money that is in the bank and whatever is coming up. So I bought this, like I explained in another video. It was reasonably priced, and I needed something to get started with. So just know that, guys, you can start really simple. You don't have to even go out of your way to buy things like that, and I'm sure you've seen that in many videos already. Unless you're very new to the planner world, then you may have not seen it, or the cash stuffing videos, you may not have seen it, the budgeting videos. But you can do something as simple as this too. This is what I did here first, so that when I go into writing things into my book, it's not as messy for me. Sometimes I'll put it out on regular paper. This is just a little notebook, like a little one subject, 80 sheets, 5 by 7.5, and it's very simple. I mean, you could just have that, and like I said, you can write down your budget. You can write down your budget as so, and just transfer it, or just use this and just keep it really simple if that's what you would like to do. So anyways, again, have a good evening, have a good night, good morning, whatever time of day it is where you are. Thank you again for spending some of your time with me, and I will see you in the next video. Be blessed. Bye.